Okay, all right. So let's get started. So do you? All right, fuck it. Hey, everybody, it's Big Papa Grump. Welcome to Board of Doom podcast. I'm not doing intros anymore because I don't care. So we got some shit to cover. So we have a topic, but we're gonna kind of. I have a feeling one thing is gonna lead into another. So but yeah, Keith Lee.
It only makes sense, like 100%. Like, where else is he going to go? It's mainstream enough that he can be utilized, and honestly, he can go and carry that company right now if he wants to.
Yeah, somebody made the point that he's a big dude in an entire company full of like mostly flippy guys. So right, and he works well with flippy guys.
Yeah. He can keep up too.
A flippy guy.
Yeah, but he's. Like, you know, he's a flippy guy in the way that, like, yeah, you can get a bowling pin to spin, you know, but it's still gonna land with a thud, but he does it so well. It's great.
I think it, like what Junior said, it's where else is he gonna go? I mean, right now he could have went and did the indies and he could have blew up and could have popped up MLW, could have popped up Defy, whatever else. You know, even New Japan out in LA. He could have went out there. But I think it just makes sense for him to show up and actually be showcased the way the guy deserves to be showcased.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of showing up, Golden Boy is supposed to be with us at some point. All right, go.
He also, like, you know, he could still do the indie stuff because, you know, with AEW, you're not locked.
Right.
You don't have to just do AEW.
Like, he basically work everywhere except WWE.
Yeah, pretty much. Even then, I mean, I don't think they'd have a problem with it, but WWE doesn't do the whole one-shot things that much except for the Rumble.
I don't know. Tony Khan seems kind of irritated about it, too. By the way, I do love him walking back the Forbidden Door thing. He's like, yeah, I botched my own tweet.
That's why he got Jay White, though. So
yeah, and that's the other one. It's like I was slightly more excited, kind of because I kind of figured that the entrant was going to be either Keith Lee or Killer Cross. Did anybody see the footage of Cross was at a signing over the weekend, and Scarlett was sitting next to her, and she accidentally slipped and said something like that he was going to AEW.
I heard about it.
Sitting there looking at her like, "Are you shitting me?"
I heard something with that. I did hear about it.
It was funny. So now that he could have also been trolling, like playing along with it. Like she might have like said something, like started to say something, and then they blew it out of proportion. But it was still pretty funny.
Well, but at the same time, though, with Cross. You know, EC3 just announced the whole it's not control your narrative now it's whatever, but they're doing a pay-per-view that they're going to be running on Fight, where it's all those guys. So it's going to be Killer Cross, it's going to be EC3, Adam Titanshare, probably going to end up, I wouldn't be surprised if Weston Blake, is that what he's going by?
I think you're right.
Yeah, I don't like. I mean, because he showed up at the end with that whole thing on ROH. So, but they're saying that this is going to be a different kind of pay-per-view. Obviously, you already know they're going to showcase those three guys. If Killer Cross shows up, my only fear would be, what are you going to do? Because you already have Malachi Black doing that dark kind of, you know, badass. And that's what Killer Cross's primary gimmick for Lucha Underground. You know, everywhere they did on the indies. I can't see you having two guys doing the same thing unless they ultimately book a Battle of Darkness and whoever wins the darkness. Like that's just dumb.
Yeah. But I don't know. You have Cross come in and take over the Dark Order.
Well, no, sure. Don't touch them. They're fine.
Yeah, no, I know they're good where they are.
I love them the way they are. The only one I'm missing is Boom Boom. If I don't get to see Colt soon, I'm really starting to get worried because they turn him into.
Now the Punk's back. I don't think you're going to see him as much.
No, but they squashed that beef. They went on record, and Well, no, but they openly talked about it. Colt addressed it on his podcast. He said, you know what happened happened. We've been friends. We were friends for how many years before? Blah, blah, blah. I guarantee you, Tony said, fix it. Fix it.
And I guarantee you that if we know anything about Chick Magnet Punk, is that he holds grudges. So, but anyways, yeah. So yeah, but the Jay White thing I think is interesting because it kind of adds potential for stuff like Okada or
Ospreay,
Ishii, Tanahashi, any of those guys to pop up because we've already had a couple before. Why am I drawing a blank on the dude who wrestled Moxley?
Kenta showed up for a little bit.
Oh yeah, Kenta.
Minoru Suzuki.
Yeah, Suzuki. Thank you. And I know they're kind of trolling, but the Gorillas of Destiny especially like Tama Tonga, especially keeps saying shit on Twitter.
Oh yeah, I'm a free agent. Tony, when are you gonna make the call? All that kind of stuff.
I was like, is Omega's building something with Ospreay? I don't think that's legit. Like, I don't think every time Ospreay does something, Omega's like, did it first.
Let's be clear. I think Ospreay's building something with Omega. Omega's too busy talking about the Nintendo Switch.
Well, no, but I mean, Omega was the one that came on originally on one of the tweets and was talking about, because I forget, Ospreay did something recently and Omega was just like, yeah, nice kind of thing. Like, I don't remember exactly what it was, but I just remember Omega basically tweeted at him like, cool. And then Ospreay had like a whole tangent.
The other thing is that, so you had, a wild Jay White sighting. And then you had Keith Lee. And towards the end of the show, something like, I just kept waiting for like the Briscoes to show up, or something like one more little thing. Like I guess towards the end of the show would have been the main event. But I mean, like, later on in the show, just waiting for like FTR to be walking back and Dax is like, I'm still trying to figure out how to operate a dress shirt, and then all of a sudden they run into the Briscoes or something like that would have been cool. But yeah, is what it is.
The one thing that I did like, I wanted to touch on because it just clicked in my head. The whole CM Punk find a partner thing. Did you guys see the tweets on that?
The what's on that?
He said it out on Twitter. Did you see the tweets that he put out?
No, I don't read Twitter while I'm watching wrestling because it's too toxic.
During that whole, like, as soon as that segment ended,
up
and he goes at Danhausen, do you have any plans for tonight? And then he tweeted at somebody else asking if they, hey, you want to tag? And I think they played that really well. I don't get the whole storyline. Why
you should have tweeted Dwayne?
That would have been funny.
Yeah,
but
Cena.
It's just I was confused as to why Mox came out because they were doing the whole Moxley man on a mission. Only thing I'm drinking now is blood.
Well,
and
I think it's gonna go ahead. I'm sorry.
It's the star factor more than anything because Tony Khan's noticed how those ratings have kind of been like. So if I get all my big names on, I'm going to draw ratings back.
Plus, he's, I think that may be because they do long-term storytelling. I know we're not used to it, but I think it still may tie into the Daniel Bryan thing. Sorry, Daniel Bryanson. Bryan Danielson. Yeah, Bree's husband.
Just call him that.
Yeah, but then I get them mixed up with the tag team.
Dragon.
Yeah. So and then then I start thinking about going to the Green Dragon. It's just
it's just a mess from there.
But what the why thank you, Credit Karma, for interrupting our broadcast. So but yeah, like I did think it was funny that when Tony Khan did like was walking back his tweet, and all this other stuff. But all in all, I still think it was a good show. I thought the Jay White thing was cool. And obviously, like, seeing Keith Lee come out being Keith Lee, I didn't really hear anybody else mention it, but I noticed that when he came out and he unzipped his hoodie vesty thing, and he didn't have a singlet, he like slowly showed that he wasn't wearing a singlet, or whatever.
Yep.
And it was like, okay, that was subtle but nice. So, but
hope they actually utilize. I'm not saying pushing to the top today, because there's too much. They're really good at telling the long-term storytelling, especially when it comes to the titles. They've done an amazing job with that, and it makes the title more legitimate when you're changing it every 3 weeks because, well, hey, it sounds like it'd be a really good idea if we just give Bobby that title back.
I'm a little
title versus.
I'm a little worried that they're going to hurry up and put the belt on Cole. Not that I don't want to see Cole as champ.
Yeah.
Because if you notice, you mentioned the ratings.
Yeah.
And when about did that kind of start?
Fair.
When they put the belt on Hangman.
Right.
Now I'm not saying
I think
part of it. Go ahead.
I think it's nothing against Hangman. I just think so far his has been the least hardest to invest as champ. Invest in as champ. He's falling into the better chaser than the champ thing right now. To me, at least, I don't.
Which was
it's early, but
yeah, it was similar to what happened to Biggie.
Yeah,
because
with that is with Kenny was coming off as that snarky heel. As a whole, who makes the best champions?
Yeah,
it's always your heels because you're always pulling for the good guy to come through. You want the face to win the match. You want the face to finally get one over. But I think with Omega, he was getting more high quality competitors. Yes, we had the matches with the American Dragon, and that was cool. But when you bring a guy back like Lance Archer, you're not giving him credible people to go against, right? It's just in my opinion. I wouldn't even care if he defended the title against Matt, Nick, not Cole. I don't want to see Cole yet. I'd rather have a big payoff for that. But have him go up a top heel that's worthy of it, and always have that planted seed.
You know what? Who I thought before Cole goes after him, who should have, because it probably would have gotten him way over. Put him against Cody.
See, and that's.
But I don't think he technically, I don't think he's allowed, because I don't even think he's on the challenge for the title.
He technically, if they're keeping that, he can't. He can't go after the AEW champ.
Cody would have been perfect.
Right, but right now, with the current landscape that we have, right, I can think of somebody that would maybe have a better payoff at this point, and that would be let Jericho play out this little thing with Santana and Ortiz.
I was thinking Jericho.
Bring Jericho back, run it back.
So that way Hager can challenge Paige. Oh, I'm sorry, what? You were saying Jericho?
Right, yeah. This would be what, 3? Is this number 3 or number 2?
For
what?
Hangman?
With Hangman and Jericho, that would be number 3 or number 2. 3.
I think it's
3, yeah.
I think it's 3 because he beat him for the belt to start the company, and then I think Paige got a rematch later, or another match against. Maybe it wasn't for the belt. But.
Yeah, I can't remember, but have that. I mean, they've done such a great job of long-term storytelling. And when did all this downward cowboy drinking problem start? Is when he couldn't beat Jericho. Run it back. First off, those matches, the match for the title, the crowd was hot the whole time. Hangman's going to win. Hangman's going to win. Hangman's going to win. Because you just knew that was going to be the face of the company. That's what they teased it on being the elite. They teased it over here. They teased it over there. And then Jericho wins, and the crowd's like stunned. Still happy because Jericho's Jericho. Run it back. Let them tell that story again. And have Hangman go over. It does bring the crowd back to his side. Because honestly, and Junior, maybe you don't agree, but every time he comes out, the crowd's always hot for him. He's not the greatest on the mic, and I think that's what kind of it. You know what I mean? Like I don't think he's got quite that connection with the crowd. But you just like him to show up, kick ass, buckshot lariat, everybody goes home happy.
By the way, that off the back of the ref spot, was awesome.
That was cool.
But
I wonder how.
It would be Jericho Page too. They only wrestled the one time. Okay. It was just that I looked up.
That's back.
Yeah.
To me, that makes him legitimate.
The fact that Omega went out immediately to deal with his injuries ended up, I think, hurting Page, because having the rematch and then him go over Omega again, and then transition into Danielson or Lance Archer. Although the Lance Archer thing was it's almost like he just landed in the middle of the ring and was like, dude, next. And we're just like, oh yeah, I remember you.
I don't know what that. It seemed almost to me like this was just a filler feud.
Oh yeah. It was the fact there was no build. It was by the way, great match last night.
Oh yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
But Archer was never going to win. We knew Archer wasn't going to win.
And that was the weird thing. It almost seemed, and then you have Cole come out and he's like, he was all doing the whole, I've been disrespected, like I should be at the top of the company thing, like for a little bit. But it's weird to me because it almost seems like they're slingshotting Cole in there. Like, not he deserves it, but like now, because I wonder if Omega's closer than we think to coming back, and Omega Cole's a better story in their eyes.
Well, I mean, I think Omega Cole's a better story in everybody's eyes.
Right, but I think they're going to shortcut Hangman to get to Omega Cole and maybe give Cole more like feud time with other people. But I don't know. That kind of hurts Paige if they do that. That's what it seems like. Unless
you're going to have Paige go over Cole.
Right, yeah.
And then Omega comes back. And maybe Omega takes the title back off Paige. And then Cole and Omega.
Yeah, I just can't see them kind of feeding Cole to Paige like that, though. Seems weird to me to do, because I think it looks like they're transitioning Cole to be the top. I feel like that would kind of slow it a little bit, unless that's on purpose.
Yeah, I mean, one of their things is, while they've really showcased all of the released guys that have shown up, like Cole, Punk, that other guy that I have his shirt on, but I can't remember his name, and Nikki's brother-in-law. So like those guys, they they've been featured over some of the talent that they've got already, and you can argue, well, there's a reason for that. Is that none of us want to see Hangman Page wrestle Evil Uno for the title.
Are you kidding me? Page versus Jungle Boy? What?
Yeah. I mean, I'll go with Silver, but Evil Uno can go.
Oh, Silver.
But that's part of the problem that I'm having with it right now, is there is a lot of talent on that roster that's just being thrown away. Yeah. Because people don't like maybe like the comedy wrestling, but you got guys that are really, really, really good at it. Peter Avalon. I'm sorry. I thought the Wingmen was one of the greatest freaking groups out there. They were hysterical every time. Cesar Bononi pulling freaking Peter Avalon out on that cart. they're throwing other people in, and I know it's because, hey, we're the hottest attraction, we're the hottest attraction, we're the hottest attraction. But they do it right with one guy, and they're not doing it right with others. And that one guy, whether any of us want to argue or not, MJF is that one guy that they do it 100% correct with. Wrestles once every couple months. Snarky as all hell. You want to watch him wrestle, and he always finds a way to get out of it. And that's great. But you got guys that you could do that with Punk. You've done it with Punk for the most part. Slow build, slow build, slow build. You know, hey, Darby, I'm cool. I'm the best in the world out here. Ha, 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 whatever. But there's other talent that you could utilize. There are guys on that roster that are not getting the time. They really should. They deserve it. These guys built their name up, and you built your company off of that name, and now you're not even trying to use it.
Well, yes and no. Only because, like, for one, I think I think they've done a good job with getting those in all the divisions, the tag, the women, the men's divisions. Say what you want about Dark, but like they'll throw coal on Dark to get eyes on somebody, because they know that they only have 3 hours a week of actual TV time, and they've got to feature their main story, you know, the all the main title stories. And
right.
That's always been a thing. That's why WWE had Heat and Main Event and
right.
Velocity
to showcase those talents. Yeah,
right. And AEW's got an issue that WWE had, where they have way, like, almost too much talent for the amount of time that they're getting.
Right.
You know, but
there's guys that I flat out right now, as much as I don't know if he's ready for that spot, I think personally, I think he is. But feud wise, what about Ricky Starks? I personally I want to watch Ricky Starks wrestle every time I get a chance to watch him wrestle, because he's solid. The storytelling, the facial expressions, the cockiness, the Rochambeau. First off, awesome name, and he can pull it out of it's almost like the RKO. It comes out of nowhere. He can put it on 5 different ways, but he's a guy that you could easily utilize more. But then we're tying him up as what? As the backup to Hobbs during a feud with Martin? What's our ultimate payoff?
And that's the other thing is when you take a look at the ones that made it big, right? Let's take Steve Austin, for example.
Right.
He was doing nothing. And then he was doing a little something in WCW. Then they teamed him up with Pillman, and it was great. And people started to, like, you knew who he was. And then he kind of, because they broke them up. Mostly, that was like if I remember correctly, it was a politics thing in the back where they were getting, they got themselves over. And then the
throwaway tag team.
Yeah. And then they meeting will end in 10 minutes. Okay, I'm gonna have to edit that. Then he just kind of, and then he floundered. Then now granted he had to jump ship to another company, but then when he showed up, he was the ringmaster, and he was a solid mid-carder. But then through over time, and then he was tag champs with Dude Love. You know, he was feuding with pre-Blue Blazer Owen Hart, you know, and all this stuff. And then, you know, that obviously that WrestleMania match on top of the 316 promo, those two things combined were just magic. But you know, it was one of those things where we're now, you take a look at him and then look where he is now. He's got his own beer. But and which I believe is pretty much everybody's main goal is I want titles, I want my own IPO. But except Daniel Bryan, he just wants his own vegetable garden. But we've gotten to the point now where I've seen people complaining that Adam Cole, who joined the company, in September? Like, they've been wasting Cole. Like, dude, he just got here. I understand Adam Cole was, like, the reason we watched NXT for a while, like that whole thing. And we all know how good he is and how special of a talent he is. But you still kind of gotta, I don't want to say pay your dues, but there is a seniority, and right. So you've got to, and even though they Tony Khan probably promised him, hey, we want to make you champ at some point soon, kind of thing. But it's like, they've got plans for Hangman. I'm sure they got plans for Kenny when he gets back. They've got plans for MJF. They've got all these storylines. Things are leading places. You can't just plop Cole in the middle of it a month after he gets there. People were complaining Punk hasn't gotten a title shot already. I don't even know if he legitimately wants one, but I'm just saying
that's what I don't think he wants one. I think his biggest thing is, how can I make the younger generation the ones that everybody in 10 to 15 years they're still going to be talking about.
At this point, I wouldn't be a bit surprised if Punk's whole plan was put the title on me so I can put MJF over again. Like that. Like that's kind of like his thought. Like, I'm not saying that exactly, but he's like, I can imagine here going by the comments that I've heard him make, and all that actually, going by what I've seen on Instagram and Twitter, he's probably going to try to get the title so he can put it on Danhausen. But I don't know. I was really surprised it wasn't going to be him. When it get, like last night, I was like, I wonder if it's going to be Dan. Oh, that's Moxley's music. Because I was going through like all the people that like don't hate Punk yet. I'm like, well, actually, it's just Danhausen and the two guys that are banned from being his partner. So. But yeah, it's like people are just too impatient. Like, we waited 2 years for Paige to get the belt.
Yeah.
It's like Cole can wait another 6 months. It's like, I'm just saying, it's like, they've got enough guys at the top. Here's the big difference, and it all has to do with I realize I'm dominating this conversation. But the two differences, the differences between WWE and AEW is that WWE has a bunch of talent, but there is a log jam at the top, and no one's getting any attention below the top. Whereas AEW, there's a log jam at the top, there's a log jam in the middle, there's a log jam at the tag. Well, all right, maybe not the tags. And you've got some log jams starting with because I think the tag team stuff, they kind of move pieces around pretty well, but you've also got a log jam with the women. They've just got log jams everywhere, and that's and I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but it all depends on how you like your wrestling. If you just want to see Roman Reigns, Randy Orton, Matt Riddle, Big E, and Baron Corbin every week, then WWE's your place to go. If you just want to see the big attractions, but if you want to see the other ones, like the mid-carders and all that, then AEW kind of leans towards that, because you will see in the middle of Dynamite, two guys is like, I forgot both of them were with the company. And here they are wrestling in the segment before the middle of the show. So like AEW does get people on TV, but I mean, obviously they're, like you mentioned, Ricky Starks. We want to see Ricky Starks on Dynamite more often because he seems to live only on Rampage. But him and Hook, it's like their show. But I think AEW does a good job of rotating people through. Sometimes you just gotta wait, a while to see Ricky Starks or Avalon or any of those guys.
Well, But the other thing, so with the log jam, I 100% understand what you're saying, and I don't disagree. But prior to this influx of Punk, Danielson, Cole, O'Reilly, Fish, Danhausen, all this other stuff, you had a guy, first off, really nobody heard of. He just shows up in Will Hobbs, now Powerhouse Hobbs, right? You built him to look like the monster he is. Big dude, super strong, everything like that. You give him where he's backing up Darby, Mox in his feud with MJF, right? Then he turns heel, goes Team Taz. And now nobody really even thinks about Powerhouse Hobbs. The only thing I think when he's on TV is, wow, that's Lex Luger's terrible finisher from the 90s that I didn't care about.
But again, you got to give it time, because if we look back, it's not always going to be overnight. We had to sit through former NXT, and even though it didn't mean as much then, but former NXT champion, Big Earl. I don't know. What is he? Does anybody know what the E stands for?
It's his first name, Ethan, or Ettine. Whatever is
Earl. We're going to go with Earl. So
he was always Biggie Langston. I don't think
but we went through Biggie Langston being a big guy who does the chalk thing and was, basically making sure no one ran over AJ Lee when Ziggler was wrestling. To what did it take? Almost a decade and a half. How long has it been? Okay, we'll say it's been take about 10 years, and he finally got the title. Sometimes you have these guys that you just need to build up. So, and he went through a whole lot. Went through the New Day. Was still with the New Day, but and all that. You kind of have to. I'm not saying it should take 10 years, but sometimes you got to kind of have to let a guy just kind of sit there doing his thing for a little while before you find the right opportunity. It's like, this is our shot to send this guy to the moon. You know what I mean?
Right. And
I think that's what they're trying to do.
But like with 10 years. So we're going on, under a decade. But during COVID, I'll say this flat out, and it's how I felt since this whole thing took off. AEW put on a better product, hands down. Gave you fresh talent, hands down. Where I was more excited to watch that than to watch Randy, watch AJ. And you guys all know I'm the biggest AJ fan there is. But I was more worried about, okay, I want to see who they're going to put on. They did a great job with Darby. You did a great job with introducing new talent during that time frame. You were giving plenty of people time to work. But now we're going off, and you wasted the momentum you did give those guys because you got to get them on. You know what I mean? I understand. Listen, 110%. I understand that Cole was you bring in Cole, obviously you push him to the top. I get it. But in all honesty, I would rather see Cole versus Sammy than Cole versus Hangman at this point. Only because Hangman is quote unquote your face, but Sammy has proven over the last year and a half to 2 years that during the whole COVID time, the spots he was doing with Hardy, all that stuff. I'd rather see those two have a match and it be to what their storytelling is and the level that they both have obviously climbed to. Cole is here, Sammy's here, but Sammy went from, a guy that was in Mexico and they loved him there. He comes here and he builds himself up. Yes, he had got the rub from Jericho. I'd rather see that. I don't want to see Cole go straight to the top. I don't. Because that literally feels like to me, it's more screw you, Vince. I got him first. He's my world champion first. He's not just your below average guy. You know what I mean? I think they're taking people and they're throwing them to the side. Because honestly, yes, I love Lance Archer. Watched him in TNA as Lance Hoyt. Followed him when he was in New Japan. I'd rather see a guy like Brian Cage come back and fight against Hangman Page. I'd rather see a guy like Powerhouse Hobbs get a shot at him. I'd rather see guys like that have been there longer than don't just throw your main guys because you got to get your main talent out there. Let them feud with somebody else. Put them in. You are building to this whole Red Dragon Young Bucks thing. And obviously Kyle O'Reilly's off having a child. Congratulations.
Plus, I don't know if both of the Bucks are healthy yet either.
Right. But
Yeah.
what I'm saying, you were really playing that storyline of Cole not really knowing what side he wanted to go to. And we got the undisputed, versus the elite. And it was something that everybody was dreaming about. Then don't push him right into that title. Let that storyline play out. Let it go for a while and let these other guys that have been there grinding through COVID, grinding through, hey, we might not sign you, but we're going to pay you to come every week. Wow, you're really good. Let's sign you. Now you're all elite. Give those guys a shot. Yes, I know. Peter Avalon's not going to wrestle Hangman Page because nobody's going to watch a match. They're going to be like, what are you talking about? Where the heck is Cesar Bononi? Where did he go? That's a guy you could easily market as he's a good-looking guy who has a legit background who could easily show up and do some damage. What about a JD Drake? I'd love to see that match. Him and Paige beating the crap out of each other. JD Drake was the blue-collar champion in Evolve. Everybody loved him there. He shows up. People were really super excited when he showed up because they knew this guy had the talent to do it. My point is, stop taking just because they have a name. Build your talent. Because if not, you're going to repeat the same thing that Impact repeated, and we all know how that turned out. It crashed, it burned, and it went away. And yes, they're building themselves back up. But tell me who knows that they've been relevant for the last 10 years. For the last 10 years, have they been there?
That kind of leads into one of the things that we were going to talk about, and then Keith Lee happened, and I got excited. Is one of our topics was going to be talking about underutilized talent, and that kind of goes in perfectly with that. Because, and I don't think we have a clear definition of underutilized. Like
when I recommended it, what I was going with is guys that don't get the credit that they deserve and don't get. First off, you're going to easily just point behind you because that guy deserves every title in the company, period. Him and Sami Zayn both have been
I thought you meant the okay. I thought you meant the Fanatic.
No,
Fanatic.
but like underutilized guys, because we're all going to say the same name. Guaranteed, one name is all going to come out. It's going to be Ricochet.
Mm-hmm.
Underutilized. He's a throwaway talent. First off, his matches with Cedric Alexander. Name one person that wasn't sitting there the whole time when they were wrestling, going, "Man, this is freaking awesome." That's AEW wrestling in WWE. There's plenty of T-Bar, Dijakovic, whatever name he's going by. That guy's wasted. Bad creative. Ali. I mean, we can go on and on. Well, what I'm is guys that could have, if they had the belief of the company behind them, that we know can do what we've seen it. We know what they're capable of.
He wasn't behind me.
Oh, here's the side of you.
But see, I don't think what the hell just happened. There we go. Sorry, my computer went stupid. I don't think that Kevin Owens or Sami Zayn are being underutilized. See, because that's not how I look at that. Owens is on TV every week, and he's in the main event quite often. So he's being used. Now, he may not have the title like I want him to, but he's being used.
Sure.
Somebody,
he should have multiple reigns by now.
Yeah. Like Ricochet for a while was getting more TV time, but he was getting jobbed quite a bit. So I'm with you. That Dominic Dijakovic.
I mean, Mustafa Ali's the same way.
Yeah.
Does Mace exist?
I haven't seen him. He's still around. I just haven't seen him do anything.
Catering.
Right. Hands down, there's guys that are not getting TV time because creative doesn't believe that they deserve TV time. And this is more of a shot at WWE than AEW. Did anybody see the video that Mustafa Ali put out about making the Greater America, or the whatever his new little idea was about calling out the hypocrisy and all this stuff?
Yeah, and it died immediately.
No, they didn't even give him a chance. He said, this is what I wanted to bring to the table, and WWE said, no, we're good. What are you talking about? First off, you were going to push that guy before there was this thing called Kofi Mania. Ali was the guy that you were going to use. And now you're like, man, thanks for doing what you do, but just sit at home with your family. You're not even using them on main event at all.
Well, I mean, it makes sense now because he asked for his release. But by the way, best tweet ever. Are you going to be in the Rumble? No, I would like my release, please.
Because he knows, and that's the whole thing. It's the same thing with Keith Lee. Keith Lee was going to be one of my guys that obviously I was going to put right to the underutilized thing and say, he was underutilized. Because first off, name another big man that moves as smoothly as he does.
Yeah, he was literally Vince's wet dream, but he just threw him away for no reason.
But, see, I don't think he was underutilized because we didn't see enough of it. He wasn't there long enough for us to be able to judge that. Like, we could see the signs that that's where it was going to go. But, because with the Bearcat thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Hey,
but
don't wrestle in trunks, wrestle in a singlet. Dude, the guy's been wrestling in trunks for freaking 15 years. Come on, get over yourself.
If they change his music and he wears a singlet and he lets him call him Bearcat, and then he wrestles Roman in the main event of a pay-per-view, is he underutilized? Yeah, so no. we didn't get that far. So
because they didn't do anything with him.
Right, because Lee to me is a bad example because he saw the writing on the wall. Like, same thing with Cross. Cross was misused, but he was getting TV time. They in Vince's mind, they were obviously building to something, so they were using. Now, granted, it was stupid, but he was on TV, so he wasn't doing anything that was going to move any merch or anything because I really don't want the Road Warrior gimp outfit.
What? Not a six shirt.
And I meant like movie Road Warrior, not Hawker Animal.
But the reality of the situation is,
you're
right. We didn't get. Oh God.
We remember when Golden Boy was going to be here? All right, go ahead.
Yeah, I remember that too.
Yeah,
those are the days.
Aluminum Boy. Throw him away. He's recyclable. You didn't see where it was going to go with Keith Lee because it is what it is. The thing that really, when I'm looking at underutilized, I'm looking at potential on not just in-ring performance. I'm not talking about just his image. Can we market him? Can he go to the top? I'm looking at promos. I'm looking at everything. These guys that are not being used could go to AEW. But then again, we go to the same thing. Is this Impact 2.0? I don't want to see every guy show up in AEW. I don't. I'm happy that Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish are there. Bobby Fish doesn't get the credit he deserves. I mean, the guy's been doing it forever. He's really good at his niche. That technical brawler, he's really good at that niche. And I really enjoy watching it. And Kyle O'Reilly, really good at his niche. But you take guys like Ali, who is a great talker. And the thing that I'm sitting here thinking is, I know WWE. I know the creative. They're going to end up throwing him like they did Jinder Mahal and go, here, be the bad Arabian American. Be the anti-culture because you've been up. Stop. You did that. You did it in the 90s. You did it in the 80s. And it was fine then because you were in the middle of the Cold War. Everybody hated Russia. Fine. Bring them on. Boo. Nikolai Volkov. Who lives in Baltimore? He's American as they come.
Yeah, I hear he's also very, very nice.
He is. I met him at an event. He's very nice. He told me to put out my cigarette or else he's going to put it out for me. And I said, put it right down. Because I was not going to take that ass whooping. But Ali, Cedric Alexander, Ricochet, T-Bar. You have all these guys.
Even Shelton Benjamin, if you're going on the same route.
Absolutely. Listen, I would rather see Shelton Benjamin and Brock go at each other just for the throwback of the Minnesota Wrecking Crew. Let that story be told. Give Shelton Benjamin the credit he deserves because, let's be honest, he was Kofi before Kofi.
I kind of want to see Brock Lesnar versus Cedric Alexander because I want to see how far Brock can throw him.
But is Cedric Alexander underused? Yes.
I think both of those guys are. Although Sheldon, I think we're looking at Sheldon like today's Sheldon as if we were looking at him like 10 years ago because Sheldon came back to do exactly what he's doing.
Yes, he did.
Whereas Cedric,
Well, but at the same time, okay, you put together, first off, WWE is not faction related at all.
No.
They haven't been forever. The Hurt Business was a great, great faction. Yeah. I love nothing more than to watch MVP grab that mic and start talking his crap. And then there you have Shelton, you have Cedric, you have Bobby. They're all dressed to the nines, legit businessmen. And then you throw it away. First off, Cedric Alexander could easily be a mid-card talent that could carry the mid-card very well, given an opportunity. Mustafa Ali could be a great mid-card carrier if you don't have the intention of pushing him. But the reality is, these guys aren't ever given a chance at all because they're not 6'3" or taller. They aren't 225 pounds or more. They're not built or chiseled out of granite. Gone are those days. So because they don't fit that mold, now they can't be used?
Balor.
Because Balor.
Yeah, that's perfect too.
Although I wouldn't say
the main roster, and there's not a single person in the crowd that's not screaming for that.
I wouldn't. I don't think he's underutilized so much as Vince never knew. Vince never either didn't know or didn't care what he had with him. Because here's the thing: whenever he needed like big match, especially somebody to like, he wanted to put somebody over, but also make that person look like $1 million. He's calling Styles or Balor. Like, that's, if you look at over the course, Balor put over Roman. Balor's put over a lot of guys. Mm-hmm. And that he seems perfectly happy doing what he's doing, because he's like 40. But
at the same time, we have the one guy that fits the mold that we're talking about here. The Balors, the Styles, the Cedrics, the Ali, in Seth. I can't say a single bad thing about him. No matter what character he's given, he does play that character extremely well.
I think WWE looks at him like he's the next like he's Shawn Michaels. Shawn Michaels was not a big guy. He wasn't a little guy, right, but he wasn't a big guy. But he was we'll say he's a medium-sized guy who could wrestle like and with the big guys. So, because we've seen Seth against Roman, we've seen Seth against Brock and Braun and Bray. Right. Anybody else named Bree and anyways, Brian.
But look at it this way. This is a WWE as an organization thing. There's guys in NXT that walked away simply because, yep, now that Vince is here, I'm not going anywhere. Right now, be honest, did Kyle O'Reilly deserve the NXT championship? Did you have a bigger guy at that moment with the whole Cole feud? You want to keep that guy there? Put the title on him and let him do what he does. He wrestles. He shows up. He does everything. He was the goofy little crony forever. He showed up and proved the point when he wrestled Balor. You took all of that steam and said, hey, Scott Steiner's nephew, you're big, you're bulky. Here's a title. Why?
Oh, I mean, we know that. Because
it's big sweaty men. That's what it is.
Because Vince, it seems, and again, we're not speaking like we've talked to Vince or we've ever met the guy or that we fear sneezing. But the thing with it's quite obvious that he's trying to bring NXT back to being developmental, as opposed to this indie brand that is taking all of the attention away from the main roster product. Because years and years and years and years of the takeover event being better than the pay-per-view event. Like how often, because they always had takeover, WrestleMania, SummerSlam, Survivor Series, Rumble, and so they would kind of do the joint. How many times was the NXT event better than the main roster event? I can think of maybe one time where SummerSlam was bad. I think there was that one year the SummerSlam ended up being actually better than the NXT one.
Maybe 2016 because of one match.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's it.
Was that NXT where Drew tore the bicep or whatever?
It might have been. It might have been.
Yeah, but yeah, right there. That's another guy that is underutilized, and that's a shot at AEW. Andrade. It's a shot at Andrade. AHFO. Really? That's the best you can do with that guy? Come on.
Not everybody can be in the middle of a big time feud, and they're building, but they are building.
Now they're putting at the TNT title, and I'm good with that. And I like the little with Darby. Can I buy you with my money? Yeah. I like.
Yeah, because they're building him, but again, it takes time. These guys keep coming in.
I know.
And I mean, because even with all the attention that Malachi Black's getting, you know, he's still, if in the grand scheme of things, he's not doing anything. You know, but at the same time, he's on TV. He's getting his, you know, his character out there. They're slowly building, you know, a little bit. Like at any time, Malachi Black could be champ. At any time, Andrade could be the champ because they're that good. But they're right. But again,
they are doing the story with Malachi.
Yeah, you gotta.
Well, I mean, they're doing legit story because if you watch Dark and Dark Elevation, every time Julia Hart shows up, they're teasing what did that spray do to her. So Julia Hart's. We're still getting a Malachi story without actually seeing him present. The underutilized, like prior to AEW, Andrade was misused. He was not underutilized. He was misused because that was your closest shot to having somebody being able to replace Rey Mysterio. Flat out. It was the closest thing you had because you wasted Sin Cara, both of them.
I mean, did they waste Sin Cara or did Sin Cara waste Sin Cara?
Whatever he's going by now, the first one, the original, yes. But Hunico, or whatever he's going by now, you did waste him. You wasted him. Because you know what? Yes, fans were smart enough to know, hey, wait a minute. The original didn't have a tattoo like that. This guy's got that big tattoo. Is that the real one or is that the real one? They had a great storyline with that whole whatever. But
guarantee you 90% of the people didn't even notice.
Yeah.
100%. Right up to the edge of it. And all you could see was the wings of whatever it was there. But you had, and they did fine with him when he came up. You have him feud with Ray. Ray puts him over. And then you go, how about Humberto Carrillo? Does that work for you? No, it doesn't work for anybody. Nobody cares.
That's a guy that's underutilized.
Yes. Oh, so is
Garza. Yeah.
Like we're stuck in a rut in one organization. The other mainstream is repeating the same process that was done and failed. And then you have Impact slowly creeping up with guys that were underappreciated, underutilized, that are getting a shot. MacLeod.
Well, I think where AEW isn't actually following the same pattern from WCW, which is what I assume you're referencing.
No, Impact.
Oh, Impact. Okay. Is that
they are in a way.
In the past, everybody's whole purpose was to beat Vince. I never got a sense, even with the head-to-head stuff, I never got a sense that was AEW's thing. They want their things. They're opening their doors, and granted, from everything that I've seen, they're not throwing tons of money at people. You know, like, which is what killed WCW was the fact they spent too much money on people.
Well,
but I think they're trying to give people, hey, you come work for us. It may be on YouTube, but people are gonna see you. We're gonna promote you on Instagram and on Twitter. You know all this stuff. You're gonna get seen. You're gonna get a paycheck, and you're gonna have control of your character. You know, so I think that's the big, which is why I don't get as upset with guys that you don't see, because they're trying to get people to out there. They're trying to get, like I mentioned earlier, they'll put Cole on Dark because they want people to tune in so you can see Sonny. You know.
Well, did you see Anthony, that match with Anthony Green?
No, I don't watch Dark. It's beneath me.
Well, I do. I watch every Dark, every Elevation. I'm completely honest with the videos. But, and yes, I 110%. the point that I was trying to make with Impact 2.0 is we take guys that WWE wasted, didn't use, misused, timed out, whatever, and we bring them in. Like on 205 Live, I didn't care if this guy was the champ or not. I didn't care if he wrestled or not. But you're going to make Tony Nese all elite? Tony Nese is great in the ring. But I'm not watching him. I don't really care. I don't care. Like, unless you're going to start a Long Island faction with him and Silver and Reynolds and MJF and whoever else came off of Long Island, I'm not really, I don't care. I don't want, like, but you wasted time and you took off guys to replace them with Tony Nese only because you wanted to say, hey, look, they're happier here.
Yeah.
That's my fear, is that because what's his name? Anthony Henry is what he's wrestling on back now that he's back on the Indies. He was in Evolve. They had him over on 205 Live. You know who I'm talking about?
Did you say his name was?
Anthony Henry. But he wrestled in NXT under another name. The guy was really solid in Evolve. He was really solid in the indie scene. And Tony's like, he hasn't made them all elite, but the guy's showing up pretty much every week. Well, every other week. But they tape for an entire month anyway.
I mean, that could also be the fact that, you know, he might not want to sign long term either. So
right. But what I'm saying is you're taking guys that mainstream attention came when they were on WWE's networks, right? Or their shows. And now you bring them over solely because they had their face on TV on that broadcast. Stop doing that. Stop. It's like saying, hey, Goldust, come in as this character and play this character. What was it, 7?
Yeah.
7. What? I literally, when I'm like, this is the dumbest shit I've ever seen. But you're taking guys just because, hey, well, I'm not happy in WWE. I'm leaving. Hey, I was released. Hey, come over here and wrestle for us just because you already got your face on TV and now you're bringing more attention my way. But you're not using the guys that you built your company off of. Fuego del Sol. As many people are going to say, shut the hell up, Fuego. That kid built his name off of a vlog with Sammy Guevara. He's won how many matches? Every time that guy comes out, the crowd goes high. But you don't give him a chance to actually get in the ring. But hey, we'll pull in Anthony Henry. Hey, we'll pull in Anthony Green. Hey, we'll pull in the Jersey Shore guy. Oh my God. Zach Clayton. No, Zach Clayton. So he's married or engaged to one of the Jersey Shore. He was on the TV show. There was a company that had Jersey Shore on at one point, just in case everybody forgets. And it didn't do anything then, and it's not going to do anything now.
Impact, you know way more about Jersey Shore than I'm comfortable with.
Snooki was on what? She was on Impact. I think she was in WWE.
Yeah, well, she was at WrestleMania.
Mania?
She had the Mania match. Yeah.
Like, these people haven't been relevant for so long. Stop doing that. Like, but throw away these other talents that you have sitting there. Guys that literally carried you through COVID. They're the ones that people were watching because they didn't have an opportunity to see other people. Give like those Bad guys Bunny. Babon. Babon. Yeah. Like, but that's why I'm saying the underutilized and the impact, when I put them out there for us to talk about, I put them out there with that point of work. They're bringing in talent that are throwaway talent. It's bedtime. They're throwing away talent that they have there. Listen, Marco Stunt, nobody's going to believe he's going to beat.
Nobody believes he's going
He
to
was the beef. Yeah, leave him alone.
But there was a guy that made his name years and years and years ago being the small guy that killed the Giants. There was two of them, Spike Dudley and Ray. For hell's sake, just have fun with it. Marco, first off, if you've ever watched his matches, he sells like nobody's business. You literally think he's dead every time he gets hit. You're like, oh yeah, he's dead.
We call that the Gargano cell.
The Gargano cell, yes. But you don't even bring him to taping anymore.
That's an
because the only thing
please stop chewing on it.
You're building Jurassic Express. If I'm not mistaken, Jurassic Express was Marco, Jungle Boy,
yeah.
Sword.
And now all of a sudden,
Cage. It's not. Now it's Cage. Oh, we're going to bring over a Hall of Fame talent. I'm never going to turn off a Christian Cage match. Ever. I'll watch that man. He could wrestle a freaking paper bag, and I'd probably still watch because he's that good. But why are you getting rid of Marco? He was one of the ones that people tuned in to watch because the guy built a big enough name on the indie scene and put in enough work wrestling big guys. There's matches with him against Cage that are great matches, but you throw him away.
Well, I mean, he was hurt for a while too.
Yeah, he had the broken bone or foot or leg or something like that, whatever it was. Yeah, you're right. But where's Brian Cage? Underutilized.
Yeah, Brian Cage. Well, did he leave?
No.
Okay.
Tony's not in the business of releasing people, like unless he has to. Like that whole
say a Big Swole.
Well, but the scandal that happened with all the English wrestlers, where Marty went down.
Oh yeah.
Jimmy Havoc. That's what he released. Jimmy Havoc, but he even released him, and he said, "Listen, like I want you to get the help you need, and then come back." But then more and more came out, and he's like, ugh, "You got to go." He doesn't release. He's still paying Brian Cage, and he's sitting at home. Why?
By the way, on a side note, it appears that Marty's no longer nuclear.
Yeah, but I don't think you'll ever see him in AEW.
No, I don't either. But you know,
I don't even think you'll see him on NXT UK.
No, definitely not there. I wouldn't say never to AEW because he's got some powerful friends there that I think.
Yeah, but
you know, so maybe over time, give it some time. We'll see how it plays out.
But Goldie and I had that conversation about the Brian Kendrick thing, and Tony does not like to bring negative attention to his company.
No, and
Marty still carries that weight. Jimmy Havoc. That's why you haven't seen him come back.
And we touched on the Kendrick thing last week, and yes. And yeah, that one was weird. I'm not going to rehash, but yeah, I think Tony understood like this was a long time ago, and I don't even know what the context was. Like I know it was on like a DVD or something, but
it was a shoot interview thing, and he was getting asked questions. He just answered questions.
Yeah. So
stop punishing these guys for having an opinion. Christ, we're still human at the end of the day.
Well, I mean, it depends on the opinion. You know, like if you're like Holocaust.
That bad.
I was gonna say Holocaust denial, which is what the big stink was, is a bit of a touchy subject, I would say.
But is that what really said, or is that was what people put out, or snippets that were taken? I don't know the whole story, so I don't
either. So like I get it, and even the Big Swole thing. My only issue with that was Tony's tweet about her wrestling wasn't good enough, so we let her go. That was said out of spite.
Yeah, oh, he's a liar. He's a liar because Big Swole was. I guarantee you.
I don't know. I wasn't overly impressed myself, but again, I was like, you're watching somebody coming along, you know.
Yeah, but she during the whole COVID time, she did care. She was wrestling big matches, and she was holding her own.
Oh, I've got like, I'm not saying I've got anything like against Big Swole, like, you know, but again, I think Khan's comment, like whether or not her wrestling was up to snuff or not, was never the point. Yeah, it was never the. It was the fact that you shouldn't have said it, and we all know you said it because, you know, you were you were taking a shot back because you felt like she took a shot and you had to respond. No, you don't have to respond.
No, be a bigger man.
Yeah, you know, you let your talent respond for you, and that's what that, you know, and then people automatically wanted to. I'm trying to figure out what my cat is doing. You completely derailed me, cat. Because then the whole, like, you know, Leo Rush, who's apparently only signed a short-term deal.
It was like 3 months or something.
It was just one of those things, because I think when he signed it, I don't know if he knew how healthy he was or if he wanted to do it, because, you know, he keeps retiring. But
it does too.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. You know, as if your entire dream is being, you know, the flippiest of flippy wrestlers, and you find yourself not in a position to be able to do that, yeah, you know, it's kind of it's really no different than, like, you know, like your mainstream athletes retiring and then unretiring when they find out, oh, I can do it. Hey, it healed.
Gronk.
Yeah,
quite literally.
Yeah. So all right. That's gonna wrap it up for tonight, because I didn't schedule a third Zoom call. So and we're down to 1 minute. So so anybody's got it. Well, no, we don't have time, because I was gonna say anybody got final thoughts, but we're all just gonna ramble.